A very warm welcome to TV47 News Updates on this 14th day of November 2022, a day that has seen the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki issuing a press statement regarding the state of security in the country, and at the same time, the government of the United States of America announcing a cash reward of 1.2 billion shillings to informants who will turn in 3 Al-Shabaab suspects. Some of the many stories that we've lined up for you on our news this afternoon. Now, with that said, my name is Dennis Otieno. I trust you're doing well. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, on to our top story this afternoon. And the National Assembly has begun the vetting of President William Ruto's 51 principal secretary nominees. Speaker Moses Wetangula directed various committees designated to vet the principal secretaries to commence the vetting from November 14th to the 18th. The various committees are expected to table the reports on the approval and disapproval of the principal secretaries' nominees not later than 24th November. Let's take a listen.
Have been associated.
He called the nurses and say, can we do something about this thing? The blood is coming back and there's a lot of blood on this bed. Nothing happened. I think the young man, that's the husband, called again and again. And at one point, the woman said, lift my legs, told the husband, lift my legs, I'm so weak. And remove that pad, which is soaked with blood, and put another one. When a woman says that to a man, you know their state. That time, the other patients started now asking the nurses, why don't you help this young man? And I think one of the nurses said, but he can change, he can remove those, and he can clip the drip. And so nothing happened until around 1.
Vetting process that is currently ongoing at the Parliament buildings, and consequently, the Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki is this afternoon addressing a press conference on the security situation in the country at Harambee House. Let's cross over there for a live update.
Our country from the fangs of bandits, criminals, murderers, and profiteers of bloodshed. The less I say of this matter, the better. Finally, we have witnessed increasing criminal activity within the city of Nairobi. A small group of criminals armed with knives and other weapons is terrorizing the citizens of this city, as well as a few other urban centers. Those boys who have dared the government and want to tell us that they can take over the city and make it a city of crime, we have also heard you, and therefore we are coming, effective immediately. We have taken measures already, as I have said, with regard to counter-terrorism. We have started taking measures already, which we cannot announce, on the response to bandits and banditry. And we have taken measures to deal with the emerging crime trend in Nairobi. In this regard, the leadership and the command of the police has changed the command of the Nairobi City police deployment, effective immediately. The National Police Service also has put in place again a multi-agency multi-discipline response to this problem to get these our errant sons, maybe daughters, to get them out of our streets and put them where criminals belong to. Therefore, and finally, I once again reiterate the commitment of the government of Kenya to make sure Kenya remains safe. We cannot trade off our freedom and our security for anything. Not for votes, not for anything. And I say so because some of these criminal activities will soon begin taking a political dimension. As I said earlier on, during the process of my approval, bandits, terrorists, and other criminals of whatever type have not tried. They have no political affiliation. Therefore, this administration will spare no efforts to make sure that we retain normalcy. We must open up the Kenya of the North to development. And the entry point of that opening up of northern Kenya is by releasing it from criminals and making it a safe place for investors and government officials engaged in development activities as well as development partners. Therefore, I want to assure the country we remain seized of this matter, and I want to assure our officers who are in charge of the various formations related to internal security. The government will support you, facilitate you, and make sure that as you perform this gallant, sometimes risky service to the nation, you will not be victimized. A few cases that might arise of unlawful use of weapons will be handled in the normal way. I therefore urge all officers to use the responses that we are commencing within the law. Comply with the standing orders of the police. Comply with the law relating to criminal conduct, that is the Penal Code, Cap 63 of the laws of Kenya, the Criminal Procedure Code, Cap 75 of the laws of Kenya, the Evidence Act, Cap 80 of the laws of Kenya, of course the standing orders of the police, but also comply with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the applicable international treaties relating to this kind of activity, which is the use of lawful violence to protect the population. I thank you, and God bless Kenya. Thank you very much for coming. We shall be speaking to you more often, more regularly, and in a more structured way. I am afraid I am unable to take the questions, but we will engage shortly.
Has the command of Nairobi changed?
Yes. And thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
So the other question is with regards to what you have said and remunerating police officers and relooking. Is this in relation to a perceived go-slow that is on at the moment?
There is no go-slow, and police don't go on go-slow. As I have said, our officers continue to work under difficult circumstances. We respect that law, we'll protect that law, we'll defend that law. The increasing incidents of crime will be dealt with as such, without introducing extraneous issues. I thank you and wish you well. Thank you.
And And that was the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki addressing the public regarding the state of security in the country, more so Nairobi County. Now, he stated that the police force has shifted its gears in terms of maintaining law and order. Remember, within the recent times, gangs have been, wreaking havoc in Nairobi and robbing residents of Nairobi County at gunpoint, and some bearing knives so that they get to rob the residents of Nairobi County. So the Interior CS has come forward to say that the government will not stand, or rather will not tolerate the robbery that has been witnessed in the country, and they will go ahead to make sure that they've tackled the robbery as well as banditry in the country. Our reporters are on ground. They are following up closely on that story. They will be bringing up to speed in our subsequent bulletins. But moving on, one of the directors of a company listed as the one claiming ownership of a house that was demolished in Westlands has denied a charge of robbery with violence. Appearing before Nairobi court, he was charged that on the 4th of this month, he violently robbed Niraj Shah and Avani Shah goods worth 18 million shillings. He was released on a cash bail of 2 million shillings. Take a look.
Person is given a bond of 5 million shillings with one surety of a similar amount. Total cash bill 2 million with 2 contact persons. The accused person is not stage to supply the defense with copies of all the witnesses' statements and documents that they will rely upon. The same to be supplied.
Meanwhile, residents of Laikipia North in Laikipia County are living in fear after bandits attacked and killed 2 people within the area. A number of them have fled from their homes, with the recent attack coming at a time when cases of illegal grazing and livestock theft continue to be reported in the area. Laikipia North Deputy County Commissioner Albert Mwaringa, Area Member of Parliament Sarah Korere, and former National Assembly Speaker Francis Ole Kaparo have led a peace meeting which brought together elders from warring communities at Naibor Amani Primary School in an effort to bring sanity.
Mimi nitapeleka bili bunge kwamba hii kitu inaitwa cattle rustling ichukuliwe kama terrorism. Hii mchezo mmetuchezea miaka mingi sana. Terrorist na cattle rustler tofauti yao ni nini? Mtu anakuja kuua mama ya miaka 60 na kitu na Al-Shabaab, si ni sawa? Kwa hivyo mimi nitaomba na naomba nyinyi mniunge mkono kwamba tutapeleka sheria kusema jinsi serikali inakabiliana na terrorist wakabiliane na cattle rustlers namna hiyo.
Na naomba pia wale wanaofuruga amani muwatandike kweli kweli, tandika kweli kweli. Ama watandike kweli kweli wale wanaofuruga amani, ili wananchi wa Kenya waishi salama, ili watoto wetu wasome, ili shughuli ya maendeleo ifanyike. Shule hii mnajengewa na marafiki wa mheshimiwa mbunge wenu, akienda kunyenyekea kupiga magoti ili watoto wenu wasome, ili waashe hii ujinga ya kuuana ovyo ovyo, alafu mnatoa watoto wao kwa shule.
From banditry, from the story of banditry to another story of crime in Kiambu County, where traders in Kikuyu Market, Kiambu County, are counting losses after being conned thousands of shillings by robbers who pretended to be offering the hustlers' funds to small-scale farmers and traders. The affected ones say the robbers were able to access their personal details, including identity card numbers, M-Pesa PIN numbers, among other details, which they used to steal from them before disappearing, leaving them stranded. Kikuyu, Kino, Uthiru, and Kangemi markets are among hotspots where the robbers are targeting to steal from innocent Kenyans.
vile tulikuja kujua hiyo kitu si juu hao watu in fact walishinda hapa the whole day. Wakaongea na watu huku chini na kule juu, na kuna wale watu walikuwa naangalia statement zao za M-Pesa, na kwa kweli kama ulikuwa unapata kama umequalify, kulikuwa na form walikuwa nazo, unajaza zile form ndio unaweza kuqualify your loan. Ukishajaza alafu hapo pengine walikuwa wanasema kuna mtu mmoja, jamaa mmoja alikuwa na laptop, kuna vile alikuwa naweka details zako.
Yangu naitwa John Com, mimi ndio coordinator wa hii soko. Na wakati walikuja, ule jamaa mmoja alikuwa na identify card ambao ilikuwa imeandikwa Dennis Makori. Na wakati alikuja alinisalimia, akaniuliza majina yangu, nikamwambia, na akaniuliza ninafanya kazi gani kwa hii soko. Niliweza kumwambia ile kazi ambayo inafanya.
Nilijua juu niliona nilikuwa nalipwa na coach. Sasa nikaona immediately nikaona withdraw 80,800. Nikaona withdraw. Sasa nikukaa nikaona nimetumia mtu 15,900. Kukaa nikaona wamefulisha. Kukaa nikaona wamejitumia hiyo 270. Sasa nikashindwa nani nimetumia pesa na mimi sija withdraw, sijafanya nini. Sasa nikapiga duru, nikaonyesha huyu pesa yangu imeenda. Nikashindwa hii nani amechukua pesa yangu. Ndio watu walikuja wakauliza, pengine ni watu wenye walikuwa huku wanasema wako pamoja na bottom up. Sasa ndio watu wakabadilisha line haraka.
It is after such crime cases that has prompted the Interior CS Kithure Kindiki to issue the press statement stating that the government will alleviate the state of insecurity in the country. Now, moving on from matters crime to food feeding program, where with many parts of the country experiencing drought and residents in dire need of relief food, affected families in Mailitisa area, Kajiado Central, have benefited from free food distribution by Seman Nami organization. 200 households, and especially the elderly, were targeted in the exercise. Now, the organization is, however, calling on the government to put up long-term measures to address the hunger crisis in the country.
Ni njaa inaumiza watoto. Hata akienda kukalia hiyo mtihani, lakini ako na njaa, hawezi fanya hiyo mtihani. Atatoa performance mbaya, na tena hiyo pia ni hasara katika community performance mbaya. Watoto wakipata, maana watoto hawatapata mashule mazuri. So mimi napenda chakula iende maboma, iende shuleni, na pia kama kuna uwezo pia iangaliwe wafugaji wa ng'ombe. Hii msimu kidogo tunangojea mvua, maana mvua sasa ikianguka ng'ombe mamilioni itakufa kwa sababu ya njaa, maana iwezekana na mvua kubwa.
Ni wakati naosema ya kwamba wachungaji tuweze kuhusika kwa njia yoyote ambayo inawezekana kuchanga siku za Jumapili, alafu tunaweza kutembelea zile mboma ambazo ziko na hali ya kulemewa katika njia zozote wakati wa janga.
Elsewhere, 2 tenants have been evicted from their houses that have been facing ownership disputes between different parties in Ganjoni, Mombasa County. According to the landlady's lawyer, Mohamed Faki Munyihaki, the rentals, which were inherited by Shenaz Hussein after his father's death, were later illegally sold by her cousins, who then sought a court order in 2008 to evict her from the building. 13 years later, the High Court issued a verdict that confirmed Shenaz Hussein's right to own the house. The cousins lately filed an appeal and a court order to evict her. However, Shenaz claims to not have received any eviction notice, thus calling for her and her tenants justice.
In order to evict her from the house. This case was filed in the High Court, and the High Court last year gave judgment in her favor that this property now belongs to Shenaz and the sister. And the other parties have appealed the judgment. They have filed an appeal in the Court of Appeal to contest this judgment. So what happened today, they came up with a court order from the Chief Magistrate's Court. This judgment is the judgment of the High Court, which is superior to the Chief Magistrate's Court. So today they came with an order from the Chief Magistrate's Court, which says that she's supposed to be, the defendant who is Shenaz Hussein Ajiladha is supposed to be evicted from this same property.
When they told me they're evicting the house, I was just shocked because I didn't have any notice or anything. And this auctioneer was just forcing me to break the house. If I will not follow their instruction, they're going to break my house. But that's it. I just want justice.
We are going to get some assistance to remove the locks and allow the tenants to go back to their premises because they have not committed any wrong. They are paying. These are tenants who are paying rent.
Meanwhile, the Kenya Sector Private Alliance, KEPSA, has said it has faith on CBC being upheld. Its chairman, Charles Ochome, says despite different feelings from education stakeholders, CBC is a proper education system which should be embraced. Now speaking in Kisumu County, Ochome stated that as stakeholders of KEPSA, they will forward suggestions to the organization, and one key proposal made by parents and students is the inspection of the cost of equipment needed.
In that aspect of costs, and I think that has also come up, and I think it can be addressed. In my view, addressing the cost is what is it that is cheap and how much is cheap. And we also need to be cognizant to what the president said. He told us that we have 5 million Kenyans, youths, without jobs. And if you want to read my mind, that's fine. But if we have 5 million youth without jobs, then something is not right. And I think that needs to be addressed. Another thing that will have to be addressed is our universities. How do we produce so many youth that cannot be able to get jobs? What is the problem? So that also is an indictment to our universities. Are they giving us the right staff or people that are ready to get to the economy? When you talk about scales, you're talking about doing something. And obviously, life is about solving problems.
Former Narok County ODM Governor candidate Moitalel Olekenta has succumbed to pressure by Maasai Council of Elders, clergy and opinion leaders to withdraw his petition against Narok Governor Patrick Ntuntu's August 9th victory. The hearing of the petition that was set to kick off today failed to start as the former Narok North Member of Parliament, through his lawyers, filed a notice to drop the case. This is after last week's high-powered meeting led by Archbishop, or rather ACK Archbishop Jackson Olesapit, raised concern that the court cases were dividing the county. Archbishop Sapit besieged Kenta to withdraw the case for the sake of tranquility among the members of the Metropolitan County.
Sorry, you know, we came actually, that's okay, I don't understand.
Now, in a bid to realize a 24-hour economy and curb unemployment in Kilifi County, the devolved government has committed to partner with other private developers who seek investments in Kilifi by creating friendly terms in extent of even reducing tax duty. Now speaking as she graced the opening of a warehouse, Kilifi County Deputy Governor Flora Chibule has lauded the fact that Kilifi County is strategically placed to attract businesses, citing that the county is close to the port and an airport. In addition, she is happy that the locals will reap big with employment opportunities, while promising that Governor Mungaro's government will continue putting measures in place to attract more investors.
Pande huu tuko karibu na port ya Mombasa, dakika tu 30. Airport yetu haiko mbali na hapa. Sasa tunaleta biashara mamboleo ili watu wale wa chini wakaweze kuwa empowered. Yani tunasema huu ugatuzi ni kwamba kila mtu awe empowered kwa njia yoyote ile. Ndio maana tunasema wawekezaji aina yote. Hapa tumezungumzia wale watu wa health, tumezungumzia wale watu wa kampuni tofauti peremende na nini, kwamba kwa wao kwa existence yao waweze kuandika wale watu wadogo kazi, watakuwa empowered. Tukishirikiana na national government ni tuweze kuangalia street lights ziko, security iko. Kwa hivyo hata tunavyozungumzia 24-hour economy tutaangazia hayo mambo hayo mengine tutayaangalia, ili watu wetu wasiwe na usalama, wawe na wasiwasi ama kusiwe na mataa na mambo kama hayo.
From this business park you can supply people with raw materials, packaging material, because all the packaging material is coming